What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp, managing editor. Fightful.com, FightfulWrestling.com, your wrestling news source. Tons of stories over there. Head over there. Check it out. We got everything you need at FightfulWrestling.com. I was going to do this on FightfulSelect.com, which is our premium service. Check that out if you want to support Fightful directly. It is the best way. You get about a dozen new podcasts a month. But instead, I thought I'd use it as another ad to kind of promote that. I won't sell any other products on this show today. Instead, just encourage you guys, check out FightfulSelect.com. Again, the most direct way to support Fightful and Fightful.com staff. The Chris Jericho cruise, the Rock and Rager Wrestling at Sea. Streaming on Fight, it's the Streaming for Vengeance show. I wanted to do a review because we did a giveaway yesterday on my Twitter if you all didn't see. Follow Fight TV on Twitter and follow us at Fightful Online, and you will automatically be ready to go. All you'll have to do is retweet some of the stuff in the future. We are going to do some more giveaways, so keep your eye on that. That's where you can check out this show, the Sea of Honor tournament, and the big main event. Let's go ahead and talk about it. This won't be a full 1 hour review by any stretch, but I did want to review this because there was a lot of buzz around it. We had the Sea of Honor tournament. Supposedly, Dalton Castle was out because of an injury, because of a concussion. So instead, smooth sailing Ashley Remington replaced him. And it is Dalton Castle, but they played it up. The crowd even said, that's not Dalton. A cutesy, fun match to kick everything off. He faces Christopher Daniels, defeats him. This was very good. He won with a beautiful cradle. And there's a lot of time killing here. But Daniels says that he believes the crowd and will wrestle someone who is not Dalton Castle. Even though he looks like Dalton Castle, he believes the crowd. And this was this is kind of a funny match because Remington kept punching Daniels in the ribs and the gut over and over again. Just every spot was going into punching a guy in the ribs, punching a guy in the gut. And it popped Jay Lethal, who was on commentary. He was the right person to have on commentary here because you can tell when he really enjoys something and really, really likes it. He does finally admit that it's Dalton Castle. Castle eats knees on a Vader bomb, and Daniels lands in an Arabian press, but Remington wins with this beautiful cradle that I mentioned earlier. Cole Cabana is on commentary, and he does well also. Nathan on the live chat says, where can we watch the replay of this? Fight.tv. Let them know you heard about it from Fightful.com. Next up in the Sea of Honor tournament, Flip Gordon defeated Marty Scurll. Scurll and Flip hugged it out at the beginning to the encouragement of the crowd, but Scurll hit a rock bottom for two. I love the way that this started off. I mean, you take a spot that is well-known and popular, and you go to it. And I think that fits for these two guys, especially considering that Flip is largely over because of being the elite and some of the gags that are on that show. Gordon fires back with a springboard moonsault, but gets crotched on the top rope, trying a Frankensteiner. Scurll hits a superplex, but can't get the win. There's some really good, solid work here. This is one of the better matches of the tournament. Really, Flip had the best tournament run outside of one match I didn't particularly care for, but Scurll ties up Gordon a little too close to the ropes, and Gordon gets his second win, and he was on fire, I thought, during this comeback. He ends his comeback with this awesome springboard sling blade a little bit differently than he does. He just hit it way smoother than he usually does and got a 450 for a 2 count. There's a stiff strike trade that Scurll got the best of during this match. And they weren't treating this event or these matches like a house show. There were some house show elements, some cutesy stuff, but otherwise, these guys were going at it. I mean, we're not talking like main event of a pay-per-view type of level, but they were putting on a show for these people who spend a lot of money to go on this cruise. There's a powerbomb that hits for Scurll, a Michinoku driver for Flip. They are going at it fast and furious. Ultimately, Flip cradles Scurll for the win. Up next, we had Jay Briscoe versus Cheeseburger. There's a lot of interaction that I liked here. Jay Briscoe against Cheeseburger. I mean, come on. The match was average at best, but the interaction beforehand was really good. Jay Briscoe, who was baddest dude in Ring of Honor, like, I think that, I can't remember if it was Jay Lethal or Matt Taven that said walking through an airport with Jay Briscoe is ridiculous because people just part like the Red Sea. People, like, everybody's afraid of him. They don't want to piss him off. He does have that look. He has a very, very different look. And it's unique. If you can have a different and unique look, especially on the independent circuit, or Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor isn't an independent company right now. But you're really going to stand out a lot more. And I think that's helped contribute to Jay Briscoe's longevity, is he's always willing to change it up, change his look, get different. And he looks at Cheeseburger and he goes, "We're on international waters. And nobody's going to think less of you if you just walk away, Cheeseburger." And he's right. Even in a pro wrestling match, nobody would have thought less of Cheeseburger if he was like, you know what? I think I'll pass on this one. Instead, Cheeseburger flips off Briscoe. And Jay Lethal was great here. He says, "You know, I could have thought of a lot of different things that I would have done besides flip off Jay Briscoe. Maybe a sneaky roll-up. Maybe a strike. But flipping him off, not the best idea." Briscoe beats Cheeseburger down. But there's a kick out after the Death Valley Driver. Cheeseburger hits a Shote palm strike that Briscoe bumps like crazy off of. Briscoe gets a super kick, neck breaker. Jay Driller wins it. You know. A reminder, we do cover Ring of Honor weekly on the FightfulSelect.com Weekender podcast. I cover Ring of Honor, Impact, Lucha Underground, NWA content, Being the Elite content. We go through the injury report, update you on that, and I give you some exclusives that we also cover on the Fightful Wrestling Weekly. Some behind-the-scenes news there. Check it out. If you're into NXT, NXT UK, and Mae Young Classic, Warren Hayes has a weekly live post show on that as well. Over a dozen shows. Check it out. I posted a free preview of the service with my Q&A podcast last week. Sea of Honor tournament. Mark Briscoe defeated Adam Hangman Page. These two try to one each other with chops, slams, and suplexes. Lethal really gave Page shit for his chops, like not looking great. Called him a great wrestler, but not a great knife-edge chopper. Page cracks Briscoe with a huge boot, a really good one, but the crowd jokes that it's weak. And he's like, yeah, okay. But then he hits that beautiful fall-away pump handle slam bridge. It is a fall-away slam that he has a pump handle with and bridges, and that's how he retains the bridge, is the pump handle. And it's one of my favorite moves in wrestling. I rave about it on that Weekender podcast. The crowd changes their tune on that one, and they say that one was strong, as they should. It's one of the great moves in professional wrestling right now, in my estimation. It's like on the level to where, man, it can't be the finish, because his rite of passage is. Cheap plug, making a finisher. We went in depth with him on that, but it is such a great move to have. He needs to beat somebody with it sometime. Don't know if that'll be happening in Ring of Honor anytime soon, considering he might not be around in Ring of Honor for much longer. But the highlight of this match is a bird flying into the crowd, and essentially I think it attacked the fan. I don't know, but Colt Cabana and Jay Lethal just go off on commentary about it. Like they are just side split over this bird jumping into the crowd or flying into the crowd, and the crowd chants for the bird. This really overtakes the match, but it's good viewing. It was hilarious. It was an entertaining watch. Lots of sneaky pins in this tournament and get the win, because Page hammers Mark with a big clothesline, but after a series of reversals, Mark rolls up Page, and early on, first round, we got 3 cradles, roll-ups. Wouldn't have went there. Especially if you don't know what Hangman Page's contract status is. Just have Mark Briscoe beat him, honest to God, in the middle of the ring. Why not? Well, this sets up a Briscoe versus Briscoe match for the next round, which I was very excited about. Next round, Flip Gordon defeated Dalton Castle. Matt Taven joins commentary in place of Jay Lethal, as does Mandy Leone. They were not good on commentary. Dalton Castle puts in a request for SoCal Val to announce to the crowd that Dalton Castle would like it if Flip Gordon didn't touch any part of his body because he has a really bad sunburn. So I was actually really excited for this because this is more of a house show type of thing to do, to switch it up. And I thought really it would be Flip just avoiding Dalton Castle as he charges into stuff. And Dalton would eventually have his own doing, his undoing come of that. That's not the case. They had Flip play the heel. I thought it went well. The match wasn't good though. There were chops and a back rake to get big boos. But it's still, for the gimmick of the match, it's fine. It's a fun, cutesy type of thing to do. Castle's selling the sunburn with everything that he did on his body. This is good stuff for that crowd and on that boat. Castle did a nice banana split powerbomb. There's a sloppy roll-up that gets the win for Flip. Really should have had a different finish. In light of what I just mentioned, 3 out of the 4 first-round matches being a little roll-up, this should have been different. You should have maybe had 1 or 2 of those. I don't know if anybody even agented these. I don't know why you would need somebody to on a boat. All these people know how to work, but color commentary was redundant. And considering these guys have to work several times, the wrestlers, it's okay. They're not going to go out there and bump heavily for 10 to 15 minutes. This was not that kind of match. This was literally a match where the crowd chanted aloe vera at Dalton Castle and asshole at Flip Gordon for attacking him. It's fine. Jay Briscoe, Mark Briscoe. Jay Briscoe wins. Mark dominated early on. And I thought initially, because, Mark Briscoe's the one that hasn't won the world title. Mark has been the underneath guy a little bit. And early on, I really thought, like, maybe Jay's going to give him this win immediately in a squash. And Mark almost did. Got the froggy bow for 2, but then Jay threw a chair at Mark's head. Taven calls the wrestlers morons for about the 8th time. That was overdone. Didn't need that. Mark drop kicks a chair onto Jay Briscoe's face. And some good work, a good brawl. These two are really just some of the best at it. It's just, it's like these two were made to team, but it's one of those situations where they could go in there and do this any time on short notice. Like if you needed a match and you just had these two guys, they're going to put on a main event quality match. This, I wouldn't say it was necessarily that, but Jay had to wrestle right after that. You'll have that. Mark comes back with a good cross-arm slam. This is after a strike trade where they followed each other into the strikes. And when I say that, I mean one goes into the ropes and the other one just follows. Before Jay gets a Frankensteiner and a neck breaker, Mark missed a froggy bow and pivoted to a drop kick, fisherman's buster for 2, but then he ate another chair to the head. There was a very funny chant, "Let's go Briscoe, Briscoe sucks." That was good stuff. Jay Driller for the win, and these two embrace after the match. That leads to the finals. For the ROH World Title shot, now Matt Taven had said on commentary before, it doesn't matter. They're fighting for nothing. I am the real champion. Okay. We hear you, man. They beat you over the head with all the stuff that the Kingdom does, which is you don't need to do because Matt Taven is a good wrestler, and you don't need to beat somebody over the head with it to make them understand. Sea of Honor Tournament Finals. This has like a nice daytime, evening feel. This was actually the next day. Gordon goes for a 450 early, flies into knees, bounces into a Saito suplex from Jay Briscoe shortly after. Briscoe has an underrated drop kick on him too. That strike trade with Jay Briscoe, though, not recommended for Flip, but he's wise to it. And he's like, you know what? I don't want to get hit by Jay Briscoe. Does his flip to his shoulders type of deal and avoids with it, connects with a great springboard press. Briscoe flies into the turnbuckle and is hung up there. and Flip is feeling it. Comes back, then gets brain busted. That'll stop you. Flip Gordon has an outstanding Falcon Arrow, and I love how Colt Cabana put over this deep pin. I have been seeing either really lazy pins lately or really good deep pins that I worry that some of the wrestlers might not be able to kick out of. Because they're so deep, you think that that's the end of the match. And you used to really only get good deep pins like that when the match was over, so they could be sure. That's not the case anymore, and I like that, man. Flip Gordon had an awesome pin off of this Falcon Arrow, but Jay Driller kicked out, or Jay got up and hit the Jay Driller, which Flip Gordon kicked out of. I take exception to this a little bit, not here, I don't. But over the last 15 months, I would wager that the Jay Driller has been kicked out of more, probably 2-3 times as many times as it was forever before that. It was such a protected move before that. So I have no problem with it here. But like when Chris Sabin kicked out of it in a tag match and got pinned 30 seconds later, yeah, man, that's not necessary. The Flip 5 gets the win. This is a good match, one of the best of the tournament. The Flip push is in full effect, and he gets a title shot. I'm down for it. I'll watch Jay Lethal and Flip Gordon, who is constantly improving, getting better every single day. Down for it. Main event time. Bullet Club defeated the Alpha Club. I really thought the Young Bucks and Jericho would win this. Just a great crowd and a visual for this show. Commentary team, Colt Cabana, Don Callis, and Scott D'Amore. Scott D'Amore wasn't the best here. Cody, Scurll, and Omega stripped down and waved their crotches at the crowd. I had that in my notes, which are up on Fightful.com and FightfulWrestling.com. There's an all these guys chant, but Cody teases doing a Shattered Dreams during this and flips off the crowd instead. He gets spin kicked by Nick Jackson. Crowd goes wild for Jericho tagging in and just hitting a little axe handle on the arm wringer. I love Nick Jackson doing the double stomp on the arm wringer. That was good. This seemed very much like it was called in the ring. We saw Jericho and the Bucks do a combo move. One of them wheelbarrows a guy when the other person super kicks them. Instead, Jericho came. Well, that did happen, but Jericho also came through with a nice face buster, which is one of his signature moves too. So I love the integration there. Scurll worked over Nick Jackson this time, or this is the trend until Nick throws Cody into the boots of his partner. Like I said, that Shattered Dreams tease was very good. A good way to get him to heal the crowd there. Nick does a crossbody instead, makes him pay for teasing it. Jericho gets tagged in and over-rotates a little bit and essentially headbutts Scurll's chest on a lion salt, but it still hits. He applies a wall to Jericho while the Bucks put the cease and desist on everybody else. Omega, Cody, and Scurll all hold each other's hands to prevent that tap. Kind of a sloppy spot where Nick gets in a Mac Jackson to break those up. Kenny gets the rolling Samoan on Matt, but the Bucks give him knees and the corner backstabber on Cody. The crowd is just cooking. They are stoked. I love the short arm elbow that Nick Jackson does. His offense is becoming some of the best ever, or not best ever, but best in wrestling today. I talk about it almost every time I see him work, man. Nick Jackson he's really there. And I like the role that Matt has played. Matt is the storyteller of the team. It's such a great dynamic, and they are so much more than the stereotype on them. To the point to where on a FightfulSelect.com Russo Reveals episode, I don't know when it's going to go up, but Vince Russo really puts over the Young Bucks selling abilities. Not something you would expect out of him either. But Nick gets massacred by Cody, Omega, and Scurll, just with a cross-legged neck breaker, that one that lands across the knee, and a bunch of super kicks. Jericho and Omega are left alone in the ring and slug it out. The Bucks show up, send super kicks all around, including a nice super kick on Kenny that all three of them hit for 2. There is an Indie Taker that goes into the walls of Jericho and Omega. And when Scurll comes in to break it up, Jericho catches him with a code breaker. Jericho gets caught with the crossroads. Cody Rhodes gets hit with super kicks. And then Jericho's back in and locks Omega in the walls of Jericho. I love this because while Omega is locked in the walls of Jericho, Nick slingshots into the ring and does his face buster. Then Jericho transitions into the Lion Tamer. And just that little transition from the Boston Crab, walls of Jericho, into the Lion Tamer, you have Chris Jericho getting a big pop. Good stuff. Skrull runs in, slugs him with an umbrella, him being Jericho. And Omega almost gets that one-winged angel on Matt, but his back gives out. They go into a good strike trade until Omega V-triggers Matt. The one-winged angel gets the win. This was just a lot of fun, man. This match, I think, made it worth the whole show. See a tournament, some good solid wrestling. You have matches from start to finish that have stakes because all of these guys are wrestling for a title shot. It's not just a World Cup for best in the world. The winner of this gets a title shot. Who knows how it'll go if they'll win? Who cares? It's stakes are on the line. And I love the thing that Colt Cabana did. He's become such a fantastic commentator because I can't remember who it was that said Cheeseburger doesn't have a chance for a title shot. And Colt said, yeah. And that's why he should want to be in this tournament. That's why he should want to fight Jay Briscoe. Because otherwise, Cheeseburger, who doesn't have the best win or loss record in Ring of Honor, probably isn't going to get himself to a title shot unless he does this miracle run in a tournament that he was given. That is such underrated work by Colt Cabana. Colt Cabana was on point. He was funny. He had fun when he needed to. He was serious when he needed to. Colt Cabana added a lot to this show. And I can't speak highly enough of his work there. I think he's one of the most fun commentators and just really one of the best commentators, period. He calls things out when they need to be called out. He puts things over when they need to be put over. But he's not going to sacrifice his integrity for a bad spot or a bad-looking move or an incorrectly applied hold. And that main event, it was an ROH-style six-man tag, and you got to see Chris Jericho wrestle. That was fun. That was good. I'm glad they came to a deal to where this would be streamed because it needed to be. And you got Kenny Omega, Cody, Marty Scurll, Young Bucks, Chris Jericho, and they just set it up real easy on an episode of Being the Elite. A reminder, we do cover Being the Elite. We do cover Ring of Honor. We cover tons of stuff on the Fightful Select Weekender podcast. We have all kinds of shows up there. We have a weekly NXT 205 Live, NXT UK review right after that block of programming. Then every weekend, we have the Fightful Select Weekender podcast. I've told you all the stuff we review there. Twice a month, I do a Q&A show there. You can ask me any number of questions you want. I will get to them. We have the If It Were a Work, If It Were a Shoot podcast, where I look at UFC cards and I tell you who would win if UFC could control the result. Then I tell you who would win the WWE, Impact, Ring of Honor, New Japan major shows, given the rule set, if it were a shoot. Fun little exercise we like to do there. We do alternate fight commentary every single month. We have John Jones and MVP's first fights up there. Those were a lot of fun. We have dark match commentary. This month we have Dean Ambrose's TNA tryout up there where I apply commentary over it. We have back in the day clips. You get access to all the members only podcasts. Also, all the shows we've done before, if you subscribe, you get access to all those. So it's not like, oh, you just get this month's stuff. You get all the old stuff as well. Outtake and behind the scenes footage. We do a retro review every month. That is my favorite thing to do on this website. You get a bumper sticker even. Hot damn. UFC rankings breakdowns. It's a lot of fun, guys. Check it out. That is the most direct way to support Fightful.com is by going to FightfulSelect.com. Thank you guys so much. Subscribe, like, thumbs up. Tell your friends. Leave a comment below. And visit FightfulWrestling.com. Thank you guys so much for joining me on a Sunday afternoon. I know we cover a lot of things, but that's the point. I want us to cover everything. You all don't have to watch everything, but you have the option to. Thank you guys so much. Until next time, we are out.